It's time for our Fitness Friday segment. And this, remember, is where we talk about a few ways in which you can have a healthier lifestyle. Because when you are healthier, both mentally and physically, you can enjoy the fruits of your labor for longer. At least that's the idea. Joining me now to talk about yoga is Namita Piparaiya of Yoganama. Namita, this was supposed to be a session in which I benefited directly from your guidance. Unfortunately, we couldn't meet in person, but you're still going to tell somebody like me, which is an absolute beginner in yoga, how to get started. So good evening to you, and how do I get started?
Thank you so much, Alex. And yes, I think that's an important question because many people want to start yoga but struggle with it. And I think one tool that we often miss out on is yoga props. There are 2-3 yoga props that are very essential for beginners and even for those who are inflexible, because then they can, experience the full benefit of a comprehensive yoga practice. So I am actually carrying with me a couple of blocks and a belt, and I can show you some demonstrations on how beginners can modify postures by using these props. Shall we go ahead?
Yes, please, let's start so that I can perhaps do something over the course of the weekend.
I'm going to move the chair out. I'm going to start with one of the most common problems that people face with yoga, which is I can't touch my toes. And because there is limited flexibility in the hamstrings, or it could be in the spine as well. So I'm going to start first with the chair, which is an excellent prop to use. So a forward bend is this. This is the posture I'm trying to get into, Uttanasana. Maybe you grab hold of your toes. If you're flexible, you can slide the hands all the way down. Now, this doesn't mean this is a better posture than what I'm going to show. Because if you start feeling a little stretch in your body, in the back of your legs at this point, then this is the position for you. If you get more flexible, then you can hold on to a run down further in the chair. So why I'm showing you this is that it doesn't matter how the posture looks. This is a forward bend, this is a forward bend, and this is also a forward bend. There is a whole spectrum along this line. Wherever you feel a sensation in the body, that's the point that you hold. You don't struggle with it, you don't fight with it. You find where that point comes, you hear, you hold, and you breathe. These are the 2 aspects of yoga. One, challenging yourself to find your maximum stretch, and then second, holding it for 5 to 10 breaths. But what happens is we don't want to hold, we just want to go straight down, and then we struggle, then we get pain and we lose our breath. So we want to avoid that. So this is one example of that. Another way that we can use a prop is a belt, and it's a very innovative way to use for what we call the triangle pose or trikonasana. Let me show trikonasana once without any prop. You stand with your legs wide and you go into a side bend like this. Now, often it's challenging for beginners, and we may find people with the shoulder rounded and coming forward. But what they keep doing is they keep struggling to go down rather than staying higher up and finding this nice alignment in the body. So again, if we focus on how the posture looks, we try to feel that the posture is only good if I go all the way down and I may end up here. But if I feel the sensation in the side body, if I feel the openness in my shoulder, then even if my hand is on the knee or around the shin instead of the ground, it is a great posture to hold. And you can modify it. If you really want to experience the posture, you can modify it with a belt. And let me show you how. So I fix the belt on the front and the back leg. Now I'm pressing into the belt. So I'm engaging the body. It is actually even better than doing it without the belt. Now from here, I can move into triangle pose with a greater width between the legs and more engagement in the back of the leg. How this helps is that you will often hear teachers in a yoga class say, when you're in a triangle pose, press into the pinky toe of the back foot, press into that area. You'll never really understand it till you use the belt, because with the belt, you get traction, you press, you can rise up, and you feel the whole length of the body experiencing that position, which would not happen if we don't have the flexibility when we start out. I have one more posture. Alex, do we have the time? Which is with a chair, a pretty cool posture called the wheel pose. If you allow, I will demonstrate that as well.
Yes, we certainly do.
All right. So this one is...
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. So this one is what we call a back bend, right? very popular, everybody wants to do it, but you can't get there. But doesn't mean you cannot experience that stretch. So I'm going to use this chair. I'm going to sit backwards on it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide down in a comfortable position. And first, I'm just going to allow my hands to roll back. Or I grab hold of my elbows and I hold it here. So what's this doing is it's giving me a nice opening in the upper back, nice opening in the shoulders, which I may not get otherwise. And it's very close to the wheel pose or chakrasana. Let's say I get comfortable with this over weeks or months of practice. What I can also do is allow my hands to come down and then rise up. It's far more easier than rising all the way up off the ground. So it's not necessary, but you can see the two variations in which I do not are very similar. So even if you're a beginner, you can still get that nice opening in the shoulders by using these props. And literally sky's the limit. I personally love using props, and you can modify any posture. So coming to back bend, I'll quickly show one more, which is Cobra Pose, that again, a lot of people struggle with. And because I'm into back bends, I will show it here. You simply raise your hand on the seat of the chair and then press and rise up. So this is a nice opening to the upper back, lower back as well. And you hold, this is active because I'm genuinely pressing into the chair to push up and release. So for a lot of people who spend so much time in front of the computer, this area is very difficult to open. I can tell them that, grab hold of your fingers behind and, lift up, but that won't happen for them. But if I give them a belt, they can do this. And this is a beautiful, beautiful opening. You literally get to try open those tight shoulders. So this was some of the options which I hope you found helpful, Alex.
No, certainly. It's definitely something that I think everyone can begin with. And like I said, for inflexible people like me, those props, I think, should go a long way. But the other thing is, I think it would be fair to say that COVID is making a bit of a comeback, unfortunately. I contracted it myself, and I was just hoping that you could review some of the breathing exercises that we had spoken about earlier on, I think this year itself, where you said that this is always good to try to reduce the fatigue somewhat.
Yeah. No, that's very important. And the wave is coming back up. So it's important for us to now look at breathing techniques again. Number one is called diaphragmatic breathing, and that's really is the foundation. And a good way to do it is you sit comfortably on the chair or on the ground. You take your hands with palms facing down. I'm making like an L shape with my fingers and thumbs. And you place your hands near the lower ribs, not the navel, not the chest, where the lower ribs end. And you place them such that your fingers are touching. From here, you breathe in and you will feel the expansion and the fingers will separate. And then as you breathe out, fingers will join together again. It sounds very simple, but it's a very, very powerful technique. Even 10 to 15 breaths will really help in recovery and managing and getting your body back into rhythm. Another way to modify this is with a belt again. Very simple to do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wear the belt because it can be tiring to hold your hand around the chest. So I use this belt. I tie it around the hips loosely, enough that my hand can go through, but it doesn't restrict my breathing. And as I keep it here, now the breath will give me the feedback. My hands can rest. I inhale. The belt tightens. I exhale. The belt loosens. And you can adjust the tightness of the belt to your comfort level, just not restricting your breathing. And it is really, because constantly it's giving you a reminder that you have to expand, you have to contract. It's like having a teacher with you who's constantly giving you feedback. That's what the belt does. So very, very effective way to manage. Once you've done diaphragmatic breathing, the next stage is you start increasing the length of your exhalation. So the same breathing you can do with belt, without belt. If you're inhaling for 4 seconds, exhale for 8. Once you get to double the length of your exhalation, you cross that benchmark. Then comes the third stage where you start holding the breath. but that's not recommended for COVID patients unless your doctor advises. Breath retention should be avoided by anybody who's recovering from COVID unless the doctor approves it for you. So do enough. Diaphragmatic breathing and doubling the length of exhalation.
That more or less covers what I'm going to do this weekend, Namita. And I've gotten several great ideas to start with. Thank you so much for taking the time. I think a lot of my viewers will have benefited from this.
Thank you, Alex. It's always lovely to catch up with you. Thank you.